I saw an
Call
Instagram
him up
post.
on the cell. Call him up on the
Carmelo
cell.
Anthony is the first.
Yo, you got the flip
Call him
phone.
up. Call my mans up. Just hit him up.
I just don't think he has it anymore.
Should any team want
it.
Carmelo Anthony?
Blasphemous.
That's
Yes,
Yes, sir, Carmelo.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Control the Narrative, a podcast where we control the narrative that the media creates. If you're new around here, subscribe to catch our weekly podcast on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and Spotify. And if you're a returner, a subscriber, or better yet, a Control the Narrative member, we appreciate the members a little bit more. Would highly, highly recommend becoming a member before the holidays. The Knicks tier or above, Knicks or Nuggets tier, because I know that when we drop this members only merch in Q4 that there's going to be a lot of people regretting they weren't. So just putting that out there if you're watching or listening to this. Getting into this episode 119 of Control the Narrative. We are about 2 weeks, a little over 2 weeks into the NBA season, or almost 2 weeks. I'm not sure when the season started. I guess that's what happens when you're a Carmelo Anthony fan and he isn't on a roster this long, 7 games into the season. So this episode, you might have seen us talk about this team once or twice in terms of should Carmelo Anthony go to this team? Does this team make sense for Carmelo Anthony? This team is talked about a lot in the Control universe, and it's being brought up again. We will get into the exact questions and reasons why in a minute. But before we do that, I'd like to happily welcome 2 Control the Narrative veterans back to episode 119. We got in the top right, Evan. Evan, how you doing tonight?
Good, man. Thanks for having me.
Of course. I was joking before, he's literally like the co-host. I was looking at like our recent YouTube videos and he's in like literally every other fucking podcast. So it's a good thing he's putting the shit on his resume for all Evan scouters looking at this.
Y'all need to hit his line.
And in the bottom, we got my guy Sean. He's also a vet, hasn't been on here. And I thought it was a long fucking time, but it's only been like 5 or 6 episodes. So Sean, How you doing tonight, my guy?
I'm good, man. Can't complain. Just living this life, man. Life is lifing, but all is good.
I could think of something to complain about. I mean,
go for it, Ev.
I think if Carmelo's not in the roster, that's all I was gonna say.
Let's get into this shit, man, because it's fucking frustrating. It feels like fuck, man. We're back in 2019. 2019? Yeah, 2019 all over again, where he's not on a roster to start the season, and it's like all the questions are just like, why? This time it feels way different because last year we know what he did in LA and versus the year before in Houston and kind of how that went down. Obviously a very different feeling, but still, no matter what, the season starting without him on a roster sucks and it's not fun. So a team that has consistently been brought up and that seems to check a lot of marks on Melo's checklist is the Brooklyn Nets. We've talked about this team quite a lot over the past few years, and they're off to a really bad start. They're 2-5. They just fired their head coach, Steve Nash. They're reportedly, on the verge of hiring Ime Udoka, Boston's coach, who was suspended for a year. The Celtics apparently are giving him permission to talk to other teams. Apparently, he's talking to Brooklyn, and they're talking to him. So things appear, based on Woj, to be moving quickly. So, Evan, we'll start with you in the top right. With the Nets off to such a bad start, their head coach being fired. My question to you is, are the Nets a no-lose situation to Carmelo Anthony at this point in time?
Yeah, so I think no-lose is honestly the best way to put it because you kind of like think about it as the antithesis to like the Golden State question because some of us here at Control were saying, yo, I think Melo should go to the Warriors. They're contenders. They got rid of Otto Porter, etc. And you and me, we're big proponents of, okay, they just won a championship, so we know that if they perform well, Carmelo Anthony added literally nothing. They did the highest thing a basketball team can do. And if they underperform, scapegoat for year 5 in a row, right? Brooklyn here, they look horrible. They look horrible. And see if it doesn't go well, like you can't even – people are great at making narratives about Melo fucking up teams or doing whatever. It would be really hard to spin a story that the 2-5 Brooklyn Nets hire Carmelo Anthony, the season blows up. So in terms of narrative, I think he's fine. And in terms of role, I just checked my phone about the current Brooklyn game. So I guess it's Tuesday night at 8:20 EST, and 2 minutes into the second quarter, we have Yuta Watanabe playing over 10 minutes for the Brooklyn Nets. So I think
that's how you say his name.
That's pretty good, Evan.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I certainly think a role's there because I was skeptical at first about some of their other bench players they signed, but TJ Warren, who's not back yet, he hasn't played basketball in a couple years. I don't think we're going to see bubble TJ Warren again, unfortunately. Marcus Morris doesn't seem to have it really too much anymore. Or Markieff. Yes, my mistake. And then, Joe Harris has just been a really inconsistent shooter for now. I think it's a lot better situation in terms of like role for Melo, narrative for Melo than it was a couple months ago.
Fair. Sean, you agree?
It's funny. I was actually one of the first ones to advocate for Melo to go to the Nets. I really was. And the more time went on and time continued to pass on, I just think that that's not the best move for him. I guess you could say he'll be a good fit in there, but I like the Bucks for Melo. I think the Bucks is a team. They don't have Chris Middleton right now, but they're still undefeated, I believe.
Are
they
they?
haven't lost a game yet.
No, they are. They're 6-0.
Damn.
Yeah. So I thought if they were to come out pretty shaky, that'd be a good destination for Melo. But the Nets, it's just so much going on there. It's always some drama. You got to deal with people antics off the court. It's just a lot. I don't know if that's I understand like Melo was just in a toxic environment, but does he need to be in another one? I don't know.
I think you just like disagreeing with me.
Every fucking episode, these guys.
Well, you wasn't agreeing with me a couple months ago when I was advocating for him to go to the Nets. You always advocating for him to go to the Knicks.
100%.
Unfortunately, but
under the circumstance that a power forward was gone, I always said that.
Yeah, but all in all, I definitely think that he'll be a better fit somewhere else, like the Bucks possibly. Where he could just focus on playing basketball and don't have to worry about, being people's parents and leaders. I mean, he's a leader, obviously, but he don't have to babysit and some people on that team. But
that's fair. Man, I think like I hear what both of you are saying. Like I just think the reason I ask this question is because I do think it's a no lose. The only place where he can really lose in this situation, him going to the Nets, is with Knicks fans. Like that's it. Like if he goes there, he's gonna do his fucking thing. Like especially with that offense, and like who knows with the new head coach, like how they're gonna play. I'm guessing they're gonna play pretty similarly. But I had some stats up and I closed it like a dumbass. But long story. All right, I got it up right here. Look at this. So I was looking at scoring in Brooklyn. Obviously, we're really, really, really early into the season. We're 7 games. The Nets are 7 games into the season. Durant's putting up 32 a game, and Kyrie's putting up 30. So you have 2 guys putting up 60 points a game out of the 113. So more than half the points. Then the next high scorer in Brooklyn is Nick Claxton with 12 points a game.
Goddamn.
So to go from 32, 30 to 12, and then after that, it's Royce O'Neal with 9. So obviously, KD and Kyrie are carrying them offensively, like not even close, like more than double.
That's historic offensive carrying right there.
It is.
And adding Melo in there as a guy who can get you 15, obviously depending on how many shots they give him, 14 to 18 to 20 points a game, like as that third scorer, whether it's off the fucking bench or not. And like people want to talk about Markieff Morris, like fair enough, he's only played in a few games. He put up 3 points per game. So they need scoring. Ben Simmons is putting up 6 points a game. And again,
did you say 3 points per game?
Markieff Morris. And Ben Simmons 6 points a game. So that team needs scoring. They have some shooting. They got Royce O'Neal. They got Joe Harris. They got Patty Mills. They have some shooters. Even Morris, Seth Curry, if you want to put them in.
But is offense something they're really struggling in?
I mean, Yeah,
I think
because
it's more on the defensive end where it's like,
of course,
that's
of course. But at the end of the day, if Melo was to go in there, they know that he's not going to improve the defense. Like, I think that's kind of like, and again, like, of course, as a Nets fan, or like if you're the Nets, you want to bring in people that are going to help defensively. So you could be like, all right, cool. Well, these guys are going to start stepping up offensively. But if you bring in Melo, not as like a band-aid, because I know if they were like, yo, Melo, we need you for 2 months, there's no shot in hell he would do that. But bringing in a guy who could just fucking get points for you with the state they're in, I don't see how Melo could go there and hurt his legacy and hurt his narrative, besides in the eyes of Knicks fans, because just seeing him in black and white would be unbelievably disgusting. And we'll get into it in a minute, but it's like, what's the alternative at this point?
I have a response to that because, of course, diehard Knicks fan here. We know this, but I fully understand the sentiment. But following Melo, I think we all know that he wanted to go to the Knicks. I know there hasn't been a direct quote, but like we understand his pattern of decision making, the things he said about like wanting to be here with his son. There's some small reports about how like he was kind of waiting for that Donovan Mitchell trade. I think we could close to guarantee that he really wanted to go back to the Knicks. So when we know he was put in a situation where he was unable to, I think he gets like from real fans. Of course, if you're like a big Knicks fan, you don't understand it. It's like 10 years later, you don't know the context that went into this. Then it's like, oh, he went to the Nets and so, but like we as real Melo fans like understand that it was completely not in his control. So it's hard to like kind of be offended by that of him being in the Nets jersey. If that makes sense.
Great point.
and also I think that, hey, listen, he going where somebody gonna give him a job at,
Exactly.
Knicks, are y'all gonna give him a job?
Exactly. I saw an
Call
Instagram
him up
post.
on the cell. Call him up on the
Carmelo
cell.
Anthony is the first.
Yo, you got the flip
Call him
phone.
Call my mans up, just hit him up. Knicks, I mean, if y'all don't want to be mad and fans, but he got to go where they're going to give him a contract and a pretty good deal at. Brooklyn is one of them.
Carmelo's the first player in NBA history to be a free agent during this in like 3 separate seasons while being active. Because
is that a fact?
Yeah, because he's still an active player. He hasn't like declared however it works, but yeah, because the first Rocket, like the Rockets when they cut him, and the beginning of the Portland season. Now it's the 3rd season where he's an active free agent.
Shit sucks, man. Just this uncertainty and like it sucks for us, like fucking following this guy. I can't even imagine how he's feeling.
And the thing is, he don't even say anything. Like
I know.
I put on the Discord a few times. I'm like, yo, his camp is better than like Kawhi's camp because you
know.
don't hear nothing.
He's a pro. A real pro, and like you saw, he had to handle New York during Phil Jackson era. I mean, he can handle anything.
Yeah.
And yo, you know what about that, Sean? Like, remember 3 years ago, almost to the day, it was like 2 weeks and 3 years ago, when the Portland announcement came out, nobody was expecting that. Like literally zero. It felt like it came out of fucking nowhere. So it very well could be a similar situation, but I feel like last time you were hearing things about that, like 3 years ago, you were not about Portland, but like, yo, I remember there was like rumors he was talking to the Clippers and these different teams.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, it's like there aren't really that many rumors. Scoop B has reported a few times, like the Nets, especially Kyrie and KD, are really interested in Melo, but like the front office or like the coaching staff. So now with this coaching change, I think it gets interesting.
Do you guys think that Melo's going to have to wait until somebody gets injured?
All right, Sean, let's get into this because this was we're going to put this third. Yo, real quick, sorry to interrupt if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but just wanted to let you know that we have merch at Control the Narrative, and it's pretty fire, in my opinion. This is the Pixel Melo t-shirt that I'm rocking. Anything from Cuse Melo to New York Melo, Hoodie Melo. On this shirt, we got Scapegoat merch, we got Blackball merch, we got just regular Control merch. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, stickers. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. I think I got my point across. Go check it out. I bet you'll find something you like. Appreciate the support as well. Obviously, the merch sales help us fund these podcast episodes that we get to record every single week. So appreciate you. And back to the show. the question I was gonna ask is like, is Brooklyn a better alternative than waiting it out? So like, do you think, yo, fuck it, if the Nets offer him a job at this point, just take it because you don't know what's gonna come, or do you think like, yo, wait it out, there might be an injury or there might be some sort of an opening somehow, like wait on it? I'm gonna reverse that question to you, Sean.
Well, desperate times call for
Right.
desperate measures. So, man, I think I think it's that time. You know, he should. I don't. It's just frustrating, man. It's so frustrating that we even talking about this. You know,
For real.
Melo not being on the team. That's just so frustrating.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. I'm just having like mixed emotions about it now. I think he should just take whatever job that people are gonna give him because you don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. Maybe it may not happen the next time. So
Also,
you got
an important thing about injuries, I think we forget how like the Portland situation was really the perfect storm of like them already being weak in the front court and having those weak injuries. Because think about it this way: if you go to a team like Milwaukee because of the idea Chris Middleton's injured, okay, what happens in January when Chris Middleton's back? They're gonna prioritize like no. So like unless it's like the perfect position where some guy tears their ACL, which obviously we don't want, of course, not saying, but like I'm just
not at all.
hypothetically like these injury situations, they're not usually season-ending injuries. So if a position opens up, okay, and then he gets a job and he gets a great role for 2 months, and then the guy comes back, like the Portland thing worked out because he was taking over Zach Collins' role after he got injured. So when Zach Collins came back, it didn't matter. But like if he waits for like a star power forward to go down or something, I think you just got to take the job now, if that makes sense.
I agree.
Absolutely.
And like Sean, going back to what you said about that Knicks thing, because that was literally going to be my follow-up, is as a Knicks fan, like I can't get mad for Melo to go to Brooklyn because, you know, again, like Evan, you said too, all indications pointed to Melo coming back to New York if they traded for Mitchell, and it didn't happen, and like there's no room for him there. So like, did the Knicks offer him something? I'm not sure, but at the end of the day, probably not, because he probably would have accepted it. So at this point, it's November 1st. The season is getting into full swing. The fucking All-Star break is in 3 months, and it's halfway the season. The shit moves fucking quickly. So fuck it, like waiting it out. Again, it has to be the perfect scenario, and that probably includes a trade or like an injury. And like, again, not saying that, yo, the perfect scenario is if someone fucking tears the ACL. So that's why it's like, yo, just take whatever you can get now. If you can get a real role on a team that is expected to be good, which we'll also get into in a minute, and then just fucking take it from there.
I fully agree with that. I think that's the only thing you could say at this point. I will say,
brother.
A very small report. I don't disclaimer. I don't trust half the reports I talk about. Even on like, I understand it's all coming from mostly bullshit sources, but there was one thing about there's like an executive or two that had like fear or hope. I forgot if it was an opposing GM or something that Obi Toppin might request a trade and like that. Even though I don't care about the report itself. But that situation makes a lot of just logical sense to me because people following the Knicks, like Obi Toppin is really doing all that he could fucking ask for. And like he's been able to hit the three now. He's been like scoring as many points as minutes he's been given when he's in. And he really has no range for like getting a bigger role because he and Julius Randle are exclusively power forwards like Carmelo. So, again, that's another situation. Keep an eye on, but again, don't wait around for it. I see you shaking your head, Sean. I know. I'm talking to our Knicks audience. You can cover your ears this one. But, so that's another thing to keep an eye on because I mean, if I were Obi Toppin, it's my third year in the NBA.
It's frustrating.
But he's probably about to be 26 because he came in at like 23. So it would only make sense that he wants to actually play basketball at some point.
He's a star, Obi.
He's not a star.
I think
good.
he's a star.
He's good.
Dude, he developed a shot, crazy athleticism. Like, I feel like he has just like a good knack for the game. I feel like he's going to be a star. I'm not saying he's going to be a perennial all-star or anything like that, but I feel like
Creating
he's
his own
borderline.
shot.
Huh?
Have you ever saw him create his own shot?
Bro, he's like young Amari. Amari barely needed to, and like he'll get some post moves throughout the years.
He's
I
26.
said we have a pro con here. We
He's
have
not-
somebody that's pro OB and somebody that's not like a real big fan of OB.
No,
I know
I'm-
Evan likes him.
No, I like him. I just like to keep my composure about him and say,
Evan, you don't think he's going to be a fucking back-to-back MVP?
yeah, back to back. What are you talking about? But I mean, you see, almost all of his points are, lobs and like rim running. Which he fills a great role, and I think he's a great NBA player. And like, I think the leap to stardom is like when you can like a lot more of like shot creation and like again, if he were the number 1 or 2 on a team, I don't think his production would be like. Of course, like the more shots you get, but like he's not someone where it's like Melo. You just give him more shots and he can create. So I think he has
at least like a number 3 or 4.
What's up?
3?
Is OB like at least a 3 or 4 on the option on the team? I don't watch the Knicks game, so I don't know.
I mean, on what type of team? Like again, not he's
like a young Amari. He needs to get some post moves.
But the thing is, he's not a project. Like,
is he that big?
Old.
Yeah, he's like 6'10", Obi.
Oh,
he's 6'9". I'm pretty sure. He's like, I think I'm gonna say he's like 2 inches short, or maybe. I think that like
6'9".
small height difference also. He's a lot more forceful, like as like a runner, but I don't think he has that like slow power of Amari. That's really crucial for like like that low post game in the half court.
Fair.
Not that I'm shit on Obi all night. I just I like him.
If he could play like how he do on Instagram at Berkeley's Gym, man, that boy that's MVP caliber.
Yeah, he's a beast, bro. I fuck with him. But man, to your point, Evan, like there are definitely situations like that shit's gonna open. Maybe something in Milwaukee happens, some weird shit happens where they trade Portis or Lopez or just like some shit like that.
But like why? Okay, like
they would.
That's a lot.
They just re-signed him.
No team. Brook Lopez is balling. I don't know if any of you.
I know.
Brook Lopez is balling. Bobby Portis is one of the best like fits their role players, and they love him in Milwaukee.
They do. Isn't he their fan favorite?
Yeah, exactly. I really don't consider Milwaukee. Like I don't give any thought to that.
Just like an example, like one of those teams who's in the lead, maybe they trade like their backup power forward to upgrade at point guard or some bullshit like that. I'm not sure, but we'll see, man. But like again, I think if the Nets are like, yo, Carmelo, come join us, we'll have you back up the 4, and we want you to be like a major part of our team offensively. For him to stay in New York, which we all know is very, 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 very important to him, I don't think there's a way he can pass that up. As much as I know it would hurt him to wear that jersey and not the blue and orange, but he wanted to, and it just didn't work out this offseason. So who knows? Evan, we'll go back to you on this one. Last basketball related question. Are the Nets, as currently constructed, a championship contender? Obviously they're 2-5. They have KD, they have Kyrie. Like when you look at their roster, they have a good roster. Like, and it just the chemistry and how it fits together. So, yo, real quick, sorry to interrupt if you're watching on YouTube or listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, but just wanted to let you know that we have merch at Control the Narrative, and it's pretty fire in my opinion. This is the Pixel Melo t-shirt that I'm rocking. Anything from Cuse Melo to New York Melo, Hoodie Melo. On this shirt, we got Scapegoat merch, we got Black Ball merch, we got just regular Control merch. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. T-shirts, hoodies, hats, beanies, stickers. Shop CTRL the Narrative.com. I think I got my point across. Go check it out. I bet you'll find something you like. Appreciate the support as well. Obviously, the merch sales help us fund these podcast episodes that we get to record every single week. So appreciate you. And back to the show. Right now, if you think that they kept this team, let's say they did add Carmelo Anthony. Let's say Melo's looking to go to a championship caliber team, and like with that addition, do you think they're a championship contender?
Absolutely not.
Damn.
They without Carmelo Anthony, they are not a championship contender. And okay, with him, Carmelo Anthony does not make the Brooklyn Nets from non-championship contenders to championship contenders. You also the context of like, no matter where Carmelo's going, we know now like they wouldn't even let him be a game changer if he can. They're not bringing him to like. They're bringing him to be like, okay, you got like your 8 shots, like get the hell off the court now. They've been doing it for the last 3 years. But regardless of that, just the Brooklyn Nets without Melo, let's talk about. First of all, just in terms of spacing, their starting line, when you have 2 non-3-point shooters, it is hard to win at basketball. Ben Simmons and Nick Claxton, I think that's a major issue that is not going to be like addressed because again, they're like Nick Claxton's like a good young center. They like him. He's a good player. I'm a very not big fan of Ben Simmons. I have very, very little respect for him.
So well said. I'm a very not big fan.
Eloquent, if you will. But no, it's such a lopsided team. Teams like that don't win in basketball. You see systems work. You see even teams that almost win. The Boston system, it was like a well-oiled machine. Of course, the Golden State dynasty, like everyone like filled a role and it wasn't just like 2 superstars and everyone just like bricking threes and you know what I'm saying. And then also the underrated aspect of like your coach and chemistry, it matters. Like I don't think you could turn around from like this, like again, they do not look good. They don't have like a good spirit or camaraderie or like system. They have no head coach right now. That doesn't just change in a couple months to championship contention.
All right, Sean's laughing. I know he's either like, yo, Evan's talking out of his ass, or I 100% agree. Which one is it, Sean?
No, I 100% agree.
Right.
It's so dysfunctional over there. Like I was saying earlier, it's so dysfunctional over there. You got a brand new coach, Kyrie antics, Ben Simmons mental problems on the court still, because what he's doing on the court is all mental. I think it is, which is crazy because you're a paid basketball player. But anyway,
and that's not changing anytime soon.
I know. I don't think I don't think Jesus could do anything about that. So yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen with Ben and his aggressiveness. He needs to have on the offensive end, but that team is just it's always in turmoil. They always have to go through turmoil. I get it. You're gonna go through some adversity, playing this game and stuff, but they stuff be just unnecessary stuff. Like they don't even have to really go through, but they just do it because that's just what's in the Brooklyn franchise. It's just some franchises just like that. The Cowboys, they always in some turmoil. It's always stuff going on over there. Like can never just play the sport and that's it. Like most other franchises, you could just play basketball, not in Brooklyn. So yeah, Brooklyn, yeah, it's not happening there.
Fair. I don't disagree with anything that either of you said. I think they can be. I'm not saying they're going to be. I don't think they are. I think they can be. Again, just looking at their roster, Ben Simmons probably isn't who he used to be. Like, there's a lot of guys on that team who are past their prime, and I'm not talking about KD and Kyrie. I'm talking about a lot of these role players. I think it has to be like the perfect storm for everything to happen. They have to be healthy, number one. I know that they've been dealing with a lot of injuries. Number two, like they really have to buy in. I don't know if you guys saw that quote that apparently Steve Nash told Sean Marks, like these guys aren't listening to me or like they're tuning me out or something like that.
I didn't know if that quote was literal or figurative about like they're literally not responding to my texts or like they're not like responding.
It was all the above, bro. It was all the above.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And I think like that is a major issue because like they're a vet team. Like there's not like a team of like 22, 24, 26-year-old. Like these are all dudes like in their 30s who have been around the fucking block. So for that to be the case on this team, it was a little surprising, but it's tough, man. Like so much has to go right for that team to be a championship contender, which is crazy because they have Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. But the outside noise, them not buying in defensively, we know with the fuck kind of team they've been. Not only this year, the past couple years with KD and Kyrie, like they're not a good defensive team.
Didn't Kyrie say something on the lines of, don't quote me on this, but like we don't need a coach,
Yeah,
like,
when they first hired Nash.
when they first hired him, that set the tone for everything, and it's been a disaster ever since.
Yeah.
If you play basketball with that mentality, you're not winning shit. Also,
Unless you're at LA Fitness, bro, New York sports clubs.
Right.
Not important. Nets update right now. Just looking, it's halftime. Okay.
Oh my gosh.
They're up 58-52 against the Bulls. I'm just looking at like the minute construction, the rotation. So at halftime, only 24 minutes have been played of basketball, and Yuta Watanabe has played 11.5 minutes. Edmund Sumner has played 12 minutes, and David Duke Jr. has played 14.5 minutes.
They need help.
Yeah, Carmelo could fit a role on that in terms of getting minutes, because again, it's year 20. We all agree priority above all. Any logical Melo fan knows priority is him being on the court when he's on a team, and not just accepting the flowers of other people winning in the championship. We want to see him play and get shots up. That is a team that needs Melo to be on the court and get shots up.
And again, I'm gonna harp on this because I know that it's something that he cares a lot about. Him being able to do that in New York.
Yeah, he'd get a lot of love because again, the people that will give him love are the people that are going to understand why he's on the Nets. Yeah. So I really think, and again, he's literally from Brooklyn, so like, I think he would be beloved. I mean, you saw how loved he was in LA. He was a fan favorite of the Lakers.
Yeah.
You saw how much he was loved in Portland.
Everywhere. But even Houston a little bit. Like, you remember the first time he checked into the game off the bench and like the crowd was giving him like a nice ovation.
I remember that, yeah.
Well, yeah. All right. Well, hey man, this is about like the fourth or fifth time we've had a Nets centric episode, and we're a bunch of Knicks fans. So
yeah, right, Sean? Bunch of Knicks fans here.
Kind of wild.
We're just all diehard Knicks fans here. All three of us.
Right. Whatever they say.
All right, yo. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the show, these two right here control vets. Every week we bring our guests on to control a narrative. It doesn't have to be basketball related. It doesn't have to be Melo related. Melo related. It doesn't even have to be sports related. And then we have a question or two after. So if either of you has a narrative, I will give you the floor to control the narrative. If not, we'll skip to the bonus questions. Let's call it that.
I'm retired. Go ahead, Sean.
Sean, you got one?
So a narrative I would like to throw out there. It's crazy. This year just literally flew, right? And now look at this. It's November 1st. So as the year is going to a close, let's continue to just love each other, and be there for one another. And that's all I really want to say. Like, let's continue to love each other, because there's just so much going on out here, and you just never know. So if you have a loved one in your life, tell them you love them. Tell them, thank you for just being there, and appreciate you guys. So let's just spread more love. The universe needs it,
Facts. That's a great one. 2 months left, man. Like, you're going to hear a lot of that talk on January 1st and even in December because the holidays and shit. But that's good shit starting there now, Sean. Dope. All right, cool. Let's end this with two bonus questions because I know Evan before was like, dude, I control narratives all the time. It's really tiring. Steve, how do you do this fucking every single day and post on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube? Like, isn't this a lot for you? And I was like, Evan, we got it, dude. Like, don't worry. I'll ask you another question. So
thank you. The fruit draft was such a hit. So
the fruit draft was such a hit. We got like 70 something likes on IG. So we're gonna keep this up. Evan, we'll start with you on this one. It's November 1st. Halloween just passed. Obviously, probably should have done this a week ago, but we didn't. We're here now. What is your favorite candy? Your Halloween candy? What is the number one thing you love?
Really underrated pick, and I'm proud to say it, and I'm holding it in my hand right here.
Payday?
I bet you didn't know that about me. You're learning this right now.
That's your favorite Halloween candy?
Favorite candy. It is so. Have you guys even tried? So many people.
Of course.
It is delicious.
Payday. That's just like the fucking caramel and the peanuts?
Yes. That's it, and I stand by it.
Evan, that's a bold
That's
fucking
all I gotta
take.
say. I'm not even gonna defend myself. I like the take.
That's it. Sean, what's your favorite Halloween candy?
Probably it's a tie between Twix
So,
and
Classic.
anything Jolly Ranchers. I love Jolly Ranchers.
Solid. I need 2 seconds because I got mine in my hand too, and this one also might be debatable. Might be
I saw what's
a
in your
bold
hand.
one.
That is more controversial than mine.
I have what?
I saw what's in your hand. That is much more controversial than my pick.
This one.
Yeah.
Sean, did you see it?
No, I did.
All right, good.
Say it.
This one, there's a lot of good ones. Snickers is up there. Skittles is up there. Reese's has to be up there. If Reese's is not on your list, like, I really don't even care about your opinion. But for me, this one, I think is the best. I could eat like 80 of these. It's my favorite flavor of anything, from ice cream to candy to smoothies to anything.
Wow.
Banana Laffy Taffy.
Are you kidding me? Yo, get that.
And I literally just got a Gone Bananas Laffy Taffy bag.
Gosh.
It's all Laffy Taffy, but just bananas.
That's
So,
funny.
I'm so disappointed in you, Steve.
Evan, I know.
Wait, Sean, who's worse, me or Steve? Who has the worst candy?
Good shit.
You realize we could have just done a candy draft, like the fruit draft.
We could have done a candy draft for sure.
Right.
I like that. That's like a big trend now. I really fuck with the whole draft shit. So
Me too. It's a lot.
I'm
People
gonna
get creative with that, like really,
they do.
really creative.
yeah, they do.
Was there
I'm
another
gonna-
question?
Yeah, there's another one. I'm gonna pop this in my mouth right after, so I'll let you guys kind of finish out the episode for us.
We have not heard this one in advance. Just saying.
Yes, a simple one, but I wanted to make it something like holiday centric, because there's been a lot of confusion. This has been something that I want to say over the last 10, 15 years has really changed. And I have a very, very, very strong opinion on this. And I think you guys will have the same opinion on this. I'm looking at Evan's face. He's like, what the fuck is he about to say?
I'm thinking.
What date, the date or day, let's just say day. What day does the holiday season start? Sean.
That's the easiest question ever. But go ahead.
The
Wait.
holiday season starts.
I'll give you 3 options. Ready?
No.
Okay, fine.
No options.
Fine.
Well, can I just say my answer, Sean? Can I hop in? Because I'm just so unequivocally correct about this. You give me the
Go for
okay? The day after Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Easily.
Sean?
Same.
Thank you. I was very passionate about that. Sorry for
Three-way agree.
No, that's fine.
Because I get consumerism, and now I have to explain myself with a Laffy Taffy pause in my mouth. You're already seeing Christmas commercials and holiday commercials. And it's November 1st. Some people think it starts right now, and it's the whole month of November. Some people think it starts the day after Thanksgiving, like us three, all 3 of us do. And some people think it starts December 1st. That's it. I just wanted to make sure we're all on the same page.
Yeah, okay.
I've already heard Christmas music in some places, like, so as soon as Thanksgiving done, all fall decorations stuff out.
By the way, this is the preview of the podcast from now on when Carmelo.
Well, if Melo's not on the team, this is the shit we're going to be talking about. So, Melo, if you're watching this, all 37 minutes so far, respect first off. Appreciate you watching us. Please sign with the team so we could talk about basketball.
And hop on because you're watching right now.
And hop on because that was probably the most what's the word when like it doesn't peak as much as you thought it was going to peak? Disappointing. What's another word for disappointing? That was like the worst. I can't think of the word.
I
The
think
worst climax ever.
I
That was
think
like
you're
the.
summing it up right now with the.
That was the most disappointing end to the podcast ever. I thought like there was gonna be one of us who was gonna be like, no, it's December 1st, but good.
Yeah.
Cool.
Wait,
All right,
one more
Evan,
thing. One more thing.
go for it.
What are you guys' least favorite holiday? I mean, Halloween candy, or which one you think is the nastiest Halloween candy?
Or just over. How about overrated too? Because some like
Yeah.
there's not many that I just think is nasty, but there's some that I think. Let me think. Look in my candy drawer right now to draw some inspiration.
I got an overrated one. Milky Way.
Ugh, yeah, I'm not a fan of Milky Way.
It's not bad, but it's not that
I
good
think
to be
probably
like
where-
on the short list of classic Halloween candies.
They actually have a caramel Milky Way out now.
They're all caramel.
They all, yeah.
It's like this one. It's a special edition one though.
Oh.
It's like I don't know. I have to look at it. My candy thing too. But my least favorite is probably licorice, like black licorice, or
yeah.
Tootsie Roll.
I like Tootsie Rolls. They're unique. They're unique. I will say, and I'll agree with you on licorice. I'll go an underrated one though. Almond Joy gets too much disrespect. Thoughts?
I think it's rated fine. I think like a lot of people like it.
People shit on that hard.
I think a lot of people like Almond Joy.
I think it's a very polarizing. I think coconut is a very polarizing flavor.
I love coconut.
I love it.
This ready for this last one, and then Sean, if you have one, say it. The most disrespected and underrated Halloween candy, and it's not even close, is candy corn. You have to put some fucking respect on candy corn's name.
I haven't even thought about that in years because it's so disrespected.
Yeah, and look how Sean just reacted. That's how you know it's disrespected as fuck.
I used to be a fan of candy corn. I used to love candy corn, but the older I've gotten, I hate the aftertaste, and it's like wax. So no bueno, no bueno.
I'm riding with you on that one.
Cool. Any closing comments?
I think we've had enough.
All right, we've been talking about candy for like 5 minutes, so I think that's when you know it's like, all right, Melo, sign with the team, man. Please. Brooklyn, offer him a contract. Starting 4 in your lineup. I love how Sean broke the flip phone. Evan, Sean, as always, my guys, appreciate you hopping on. Always great episodes when you guys join the show. So thank you as always, and we'll see what happens. We'll see if we have to soon shop for a Brooklyn Nets jersey.
Yes, sir. Stay mellow, friends.
Thanks, boys.